welcome to week 11 of my Real Men segment. I have my normal 2 go hard picks and 2 go soft picks for everyone this week. These are some good ones, so pay attention here. My first go hard pick this week is the Panthers defense. I love this defense, but I'm not going to lie, I kind of like this team. There's a lot of ex-Bears players on this team. And in 6 games this season, they have a sack, an interception, and a fumble recovery. So they have all 3 of those things in 6 games this season. I really can't name many other teams that are doing that. So they are definitely getting you those fantasy points with the sacks, picks, fumbles. They don't have many touchdowns, but if they're getting turnovers, that's always a chance for them to get a defensive touchdown for you. Now, they are going against the Redskins this week, and I know I told you last week to play Kirk Cousins, and he had a phenomenal game against the Saints' shitty secondary, but this week he is not going to have fun against this Panthers defense. They are holding teams to 19.4 points per game, and the Redskins' offense is 20th in the league. They're only scoring an average of 22.8 points per game. So I definitely see this being a game that the Redskins probably don't even score 20 points. And the Panthers are tied for the most interceptions in the league with 14. Of course, they have Peanut Tillman over there doing his thing in their secondary. So again, I just don't like this matchup for the Redskins, unfortunately, but it will get you a lot of fantasy points if you have the Panthers defense. So go ahead, get them in there for sure. Now, my second go hard pick for this week is wide receiver Tavon Austin of the Rams. And I know you're thinking, yeah, he's been really up and down this year so far, and he has. But I think he'll bounce back this week. He's playing against the Ravens, and the Ravens have given up 16 touchdowns to wide receivers this season. So they're giving up a ton of touchdowns to wide receivers. Tavon Austin had a bad week against the Bears. He definitely needs to bounce back. I know he's had no touchdowns in 2 weeks, but this is a great defense for him to be going against. I think he can definitely get in the end zone for you all this week. And the Ravens give up the most fantasy points to wide receivers out of any team in the league. So again, this is a good team for him to be going against. I know you think, well, Wes Welker's there now, so he's getting some targets. But Tavon Austin is still their guy. And if anything, it just allows the defense to not be able to pay as much attention to Tavon Austin. So maybe he can get out there with some one-on-one coverage. And as we mentioned earlier, there's been a change at quarterback. Case Keenum is now the Rams quarterback. A lot of times this kind of lights a fire under a team. Hopefully it lights a fire under that offense, and they really get Tavon Austin going a lot more. So I just think that this is a week you definitely need to put him in because we're missing some wide receivers because of this last bye week we have. Let me move it on to my go soft picks. Now, these are going to be shocking for you all, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why would I sit these players, blah, blah, blah. But we are big balls fantasy football here, so we do some shocking stuff. These players do not have great matchups. I'm not necessarily telling you to sit them. You might want to if you have someone with a better matchup in, but you cannot expect crazy, crazy points from these guys. So my first one this week is quarterback Aaron Rodgers. I know, shocking. But yes, he's playing the Vikings defense at home. And the Vikings defense at home, they have held their opponents to an average of 14.5 points per game. That is pretty incredible. Also, we know that Rodgers and the Green Bay offense has been a little shaky these last 3 weeks, especially because they've been losing games. They just lost against Detroit. That was crazy and very fun being a Bears fan for me to witness. But a lot of it is because Rodgers has been sacked a lot. He's been sacked 11 times in the last 3 weeks. He was sacked 11 times in the whole rest of the season before these last 3 weeks. So teams are really getting pressure on him, which is making him uncomfortable, which is making him not get to his wide receivers. And I think the Vikings, they're smart. They're a smart team. They're getting healthy on defense. They're going to try to make him very uncomfortable in the pocket. Only one quarterback has thrown for over 300 yards against the Vikings, so that's pretty impressive. and they have not allowed more than 2 passing touchdowns in a game so far this season from any quarterback. So they are an under-the-radar type of defense, but they are playing pretty doggone tough. And this is a division game, of course, that matters a lot because the Vikings right now are in first place in our division. So this is a game that I just think the Vikings at home are going to come out strong. I think Rodgers is still going to have some problems, so we will see, but I don't think he's going to get you a ton of points this week. And my second and last go soft of this week is another shocker, tight end Rob Gronkowski of the Patriots. He is playing the Bills, and the Bills defense allows the 7th fewest fantasy points to tight ends. In week 6, Tyler Eifert, who we know has been balling out this year, only had 30 yards against them. So the Bills are doing pretty good against the tight ends. Now, another reason I think that he's a go soft is we know that Edelman is out. So that is one less person that the Bills defense has to pay attention to. If I were them, I would take that attention that I would normally put on Edelman and put even more attention on Gronk because you know he's the dangerous target and you know that he's Brady's security blanket. So they should be having 2 or 3 guys covering him pretty much all the time. At least that's what I would do if I was a defensive coordinator. Now, I know you're saying he torched them in week 2. He had 113 yards and a touchdown, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times what happens with these division games is the first week a player completely torches you that you play them, and you play them later in the season, and you watch that tape, you watch what you did wrong, and you watch out for that player, and a lot of times that player does not go off like they did the first time against you. So I think the Bills are definitely going to watch that tape from week 2 and learn and check out things that they need to do differently against him. And we know that Rex Ryan loves to make things difficult on the Patriots. He loves playing them. He hates that team. This is a Monday Night Football game. So this is definitely something that I just think it's going to be a little bit harder for Gronk this week, especially than it was in week 2 against those Bills. So there you go. Those are my go hard and go softs for this week for everyone. And we don't have a fan segment this week, but we might have one next week because I'm off work this Sunday. Yay! I actually get to watch football on the normal day that the games are. So we will have some fun stuff for you. But tonight we are signing out, and good luck with your fantasy this week.